Hello.
Are you guys enjoying this? I'm very humbled and honored to be with you here today. Day 2 of Sahara Sparks 2023, our marketplace embracing disruptions. I hope you're embracing those disruptions. Jana taa zilikuwa ziwaki, leo zinawaka. Yeah, so to be honest, we don't have much to say. Possibly most of you know that last week Sahara Ventures and Highsand Ventures signed an MOU to bridge the Indian startup ecosystem and the Tanzanian startup ecosystem. I was wearing a suit, can you imagine? Yeah, so, but we were in front of Excellence President Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Hi everyone, karibuni sana. That's what you said, yeah.
Okay, great. So we've been told to share what are some of the opportunities that will emerge from the MOUs that we've signed between Sahara Ventures and Highsand Ventures, especially for startups in Tanzania. So, to be honest, I didn't read the MOU. So I'll let Ajay say what are the opportunities that are going to emerge from that MOU. Please welcome.
Is hoping that I went through the MOU. I just got a pen and I signed it. But anyways, that's different. As long as the spirit of collaboration is there and we know that we are doing the right thing, supporting entrepreneurship, I think everything is good. But I can give a very quick a background of how many of you here have heard of Hindsight Ventures? I hope many of you raise your hand. Kai is a good friend. No one has heard of Hindsight Ventures. Kusiluka, you can be a bit prouder, man. Like Hashem. Alright, anyways, let me give a quick background. I mean, as Hindsight Ventures, while we are headquartered in Mumbai, in India, Hindsight Ventures as a brand was carved out about 3 years back, essentially to focus on the African continent to build out programs in the space of innovation and entrepreneurship. Rest of the world, we operate under the brand name Startup Rezo. We have been around for a while. We have been doing this for about a decade. So know a little bit about setting up programs, operating programs. We work with governments, we work with partners like Jumani and Sahara Ventures, we work with DFIs, but we also work with large corporates. As much as we may want to believe that entrepreneurs or startups are struggling with innovation and getting products out there, corporates or big organizations sitting inside the four walls, they are struggling equally. And they have huge challenge in bridging the gap with innovation, understanding customer requirements. So we work with large corporates in co-creating innovation programs and startup accelerators. That is bread and butter for us. So we do not make money out of startups and entrepreneurs. We make money engaging with large corporates for whom we are solving the problem of innovation. Having said that, amongst everything bad that happened during COVID, there was lockdown and frontline workers who are out there trying to make lives of people better. I think one good thing that emerged for businesses like ours and so many others is that we all were forced to adapt to digital. And because of that is why we are here today. We are talking of an MOU. We are talking of multiple programs that we have operated in the sub-Saharan Africa region over the years. Because if it wasn't for COVID, we would have been happy running programs in India and some of the other markets. And we would have thought of Tanzania, we would have thought of sub-Saharan Africa 2023, 2024, I don't know when. But due to COVID, this got fast-tracked. We were able to attend a whole bunch of events and conferences internationally. While we looked at Southeast Asia and it looked interesting, we started attending a whole bunch of conferences in Middle East, Africa, and it absolutely seemed like a no-brainer that after India or after some of the other markets that we were in, the big market that we wanted to focus on for the next decade, it had to be Africa. And one of the reasons why we chose Tanzania, why we chose Dar es Salaam as the first market to get into, I had lived here several years back when Dar and Tanzania looked a little bit different about 15 years back. And more importantly, I think being able to adapt to a market like this, people, the culture, friendly, welcoming, it makes a huge difference for any kind of business. Because end of the day, it's business not happening between organization to organization, but it is between people to people. So having had that experience of living and worked here, I knew for a fact that if we were to think of the first market to set foot in the African continent, it had to be Tanzania, and Dar es Salaam had to be the city. And when you have partners like Jumani, I mean, yesterday we were at the Indian High Commission, we were doing an event and Jumani came to speak and he just probably rushed and came here. So one of the things I mentioned was that the first conversation I had with this guy, a lot of times the word collaboration is overused, it is overabused and there's no meaning to it. People just say, I'd like to collaborate. The first time we had a chat with Jumani, It was like we are brothers, we are doing this together. So you're supporting entrepreneurship, I support entrepreneurship as a company. Let us work together. So there was no hesitation. There was nothing which felt like, okay, you're coming from another market, you're looking to kind of break into my market. Are you going to eat into my share of business? No. I mean, as long as you're assured of the space that you stand on, you automatically kind of relate to people. And thanks to Mane for always being that person who has extended an open arm and being very welcoming in terms of working together. So as Hindsight Ventures, the first program that we launched in the continent was Vazo Challenge. And since then, even though Vazo is a Swahili word, we have ended up using Vazo as a name even in the west of the continent, in Nigeria. So we have done about 4 editions of Vazo Challenge, which is essentially about working with early stage emerging tech entrepreneurs, taking them through a 4-week venture development bootcamp. Tanzania was the first one, but since then we have done Kenya, we have done East Africa as the region, we have done Nigeria. But also, I mean, a lot of the on-ground programs that we have done over the past 3 years, they've all been in Tanzania. I mean, working with partners like Absa Bank, we ran a program with them focusing on women entrepreneurs, working with DOT, Digital Opportunity Trust. We ended up running a bootcamp for them, Founder Development Bootcamp. Yesterday, I mean, last couple of days, we worked with Stanbic Bank and Stanbic Yashara Incubator to again run a Founder Development Bootcamp on the ground. So a lot of on-ground activities have been there. But one important program that I'd like to highlight here, which probably started off a lot of further collaboration with Jumanne and Sahara. 2, in fact. One is the UNCDF-backed Pesatech Accelerator. We wanted to apply to that. We wanted to be the ones doing it because we have done a whole bunch of fintech accelerators in different parts of the world. Being not incorporated over here is something seemed like a question mark. But this guy reaches out to us saying that we are doing this and we know that we want you guys as partners. So that is a true spirit of someone extending an arm of partnership, collaboration, whatever. So as Hindsight Ventures, while we see ourselves as an operator on the ground running programs, we also kind of leverage the expertise and market access that we bring other parts of the world where we run programs on the ground. I'll pass it on to Jagrati to talk. Maybe you have something to add?
I think Ajay fairly covered everything. But yes, to add here, we have been doing this for a while, and Africa was always our focused market. And as a brand, as Startup Rezo, which is known in Mumbai, in India and other global markets, we always had a vision to expand to the global south, right from Australia to the South America and everything else in between, because we believe that whatever experience we've gained from India as a market, worked with entrepreneurs for a decade now, we have seen India's entrepreneurship journey go from where there were 0 unicorns to now having more than 100 of them. So we know what kind of struggle founders face, how the ecosystem has grown, how founders should have a mindset of fail fast and scale fast. So they should be able to decide when to stop and when to scale. And with that experience, we wanted to leverage and take it to another market. So that's when we identified Africa, and that's why we rebranded ourselves as Hindsight, because we bring hindsight from India to Africa here. And the whole focus is, even between this collaboration, one is to support entrepreneurship in the local market. As Sahara Ventures, they can bring more of the local expertise on how the local ecosystem works here. And as Hindsight Ventures, how we can bring more of international expertise of bridging the gap between 2 different markets, giving them exposure to different founders who built and scaled similar kind of companies in other geographies. So it can be more of mind share that they can have, and also more of if there is a founder looking at building a technology but that's already built somewhere else, how do they leverage that and bring it to this market? So there are a few areas in which we've thought of and signed this MOU, and we look forward to enabling the local startup ecosystem, because we as a brand believe that it's very important to work with entrepreneurs, make them friends and work with them in their journey. That's why even as Hindsight, we call ourselves as pacers, because it's important to pace with the growth and the journey of the startups. So I think I'll stop there.
Yes. It works. But you need to switch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so again, Sahara Ventures' mission is very simple. We are aiming to build innovation ecosystem in Africa, one block at a time. We've been doing this event for the past 8 years, and every time we do it, we see progress in terms of the growth of our ecosystem in Tanzania. when we started to do this event back in 2016, there were very few startups. Even the concept of startup was very new. I think the theme we used was breaking the barriers, meaning that coming in and try to actually make people understand what it takes to form a startup, who is a startup founder, what kind of support a startup founder needs, what kind of policies and regulation you should put around them, because it was a very new concept. Fast forward right now, we see companies like Nala, we see the likes of Ramani, we hear exit from Copagas, folks from Laina Finance, Dawa Mkononi, all these potential startups that are growing really fast in our ecosystem, with the potential for some of them to become unicorns. You know, can you clap for that? So, if you look at the pace of growth of the likes of Ramani and Nala, it's just amazing. And for some of us, we're just sharing and try to see what's happening in the next few years.